I love creative writing. I love the use of words. And what I really like is when a writer can transform an image or a feeling by using metaphors. And to me, that is so, it's it's just so ingenious because it really makes you think about the message that they're trying to convey. Years ago, I took a few writing courses, McMaster at Mohawk College, and one of the assignments that I was given was to write a metaphorical short story, 500 words or less. You got to write between 450 and 550. I ended up writing a short story that was 530 words called A Sprig of Parsley. And I used that as a metaphor. And I'd like to share that story with you now because although the parsley is symbolic to the main character of this short story, I think it goes deeper than that. I'd like to know what you think about it. So here we have my short story, A Sprig of Parsley. And this was the original assignment that I handed in from January the 17th, 1998. I know. So I guess you could say it's a classic. Here we go. A Sprig of Parsley. It was the first time in her 40 years of life she had been rejected. Julia slowly rose from the boardroom chair with the poise and grace she had charmed them with many years before. They wanted her then more than anyone else. It would be her image that would change those red ink ledgers in accounting to a very healthy shade of black. Now, as they rejected her, the black ink was still flowing strong, staining each of their greedy little hands. Julia smiled and left the room. The middle-aged cover girl felt betrayed and abandoned. For years, she gave up things she loved, the child she only dreamed of. Soon, time would rob her of that. Julia began walking. Along her journey, she noticed a sign in a cafe window. Special. Steak dinner, potato, grilled vegetables, and a sprig of parsley. $12.99. Why not? She thought, then went inside. While waiting for her meal, Julia couldn't help but think about the great injustice that had just befallen her. Her thoughts took her back to that first encounter with them. She was fresh and green. Her knowledge of fashion was lacking, but Julia's innate beauty would enchant them. They picked her to model their wares. It didn't matter what outfit or design Julia wore. She was the finishing touch. She made the meal, so to speak. Her dinner came. Looking at her plate, it wasn't the juicy sirloin that caught her eye, nor was it the fully loaded baked potato and colorful dish of veggies that got her attention. What Julia couldn't help noticing was the single sprig of parsley that offset the meal and made it complete. Julia took a sip of water, then picked up the sprig. She noticed how crisp and green the tiny garnish was. Its aroma was fresh, as if the chef ran out to the garden and picked it just moments before placing it on Julia's plate. For a moment, it took her mind off the problem at hand. No more fashion tours or cover shots on Glamour or Cosmo. Julia gently placed the sprig back on her plate and began to eat her meal. She started with the steak, cutting it into bite-sized pieces. It was juicy and tender, perfect. The veggies were sautéed in real butter, not that substitute shit. Julia had no recourse, and thus no thoughts of revenge or fury. Nothing would interrupt her meal. She felt an uncanny closeness to the curly green herb. It would only be used as a garnish, then a one-way ticket to the compost heap. Its purpose was to add beauty to an otherwise mundane-looking plate of food. It would dress it up, so to speak. A tear trickled down Julia's face and dropped on the fine china, now bare except for that lone sprig of parsley. The curly edges were now withering slowly, as if it knew its doom. Without hesitation, Julia rescued the sprig from its fate and began eating it passionately. At first it tasted bitter, then sweet. It seemed to dance inside her mouth. As Julia swallowed the parsley, she knew she had done the right thing. Then slowly she rose from her chair, and with poise and grace, Julia left the cafe.